So second embargo for the POCO F7, and finally, of course, we can lift the lid on everything, specs, and tell you exactly what it's like, which is what this video is about. So powered by the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4, fantastic chipset for the price point here. 50 megapixel main camera on the rear, 8 megapixel, 20 at the front, metal frame, great hardware. But what about the software? Will it run into overheating issues, and how exactly are those cameras? It's all going to be covered in my full review now with all the good and the bad about the POCO F7.
This is what we get in the box with it: a 90-watt charger, Type-C to Type-A cable, SIM tray tool, TPU case, and then your quick start and warranty card, plus safety information. And if you're looking for a power bank that's going to support this POCO F7, then we have this here from ChookTech. By the way, they are sponsoring this video. Now, ChookTech is a subsidiary of Xiaomi. 72 watt hours, is airline safe, and it has a really good build to it. We've got this button at the front here, and you can see the nice TF display here, 1.3 inches, and it shows us the time remaining, the wattage there, and all of that key information that you do need. Now, this is a super powerful battery bank here from ChookTech, the Ultra 15, because it outputs 140 watts out of the Type-C ports, supports power delivery 3.1, quick charge as well from the Type-A, and that is 33 maximum, and in total from all of the ports, 210 watts, which is impressive. And a very quick charge test here. So I've got a POCO F7, plug that in, let's see if it does come up with the quick charging at 90 watts. It certainly does there. And this is a Lenovo Legion Y700 Gen 4, so the 2025 edition, and turbocharge is supported. Great. And then two very common flagships. We've got the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now, it will take this one up to 60% in just 30 minutes. It detects its Apple there, so supporting the max charging rate. And then a Galaxy S25 Ultra from Samsung. That's a super fast charging 2.0, does state Samsung, so supported. And that will get us to 62% in just 30 minutes. Now, it charges extremely quick, 40 minutes to 100%, thanks to the dual inputs up to 165 watts beast mode charging. So power to charge all your devices. Check the link in the description of this video for more. I have the silver version with me here, and I think it's not the best looking. You've got the black and then the white version. If you don't like this gamer kind of look to it, then it's not the version to get. The back is super reflective, being like a mirror surface. It's glass on the back here. Now, I know the front is Gorilla Glass 7i, but with the back here, I'm not too sure. I need to double check on that one with Xiaomi what it exactly is. I assume it's the same, but I could actually be wrong there. Now, in my little sneak peek, a lot of people were saying, is that a green LED? Is it a status LED? No. It's just some reflective green in there that makes it look like it's LED. It's an LED, but no, you turn the lights off and that's not going to light up. So we've got a 50 megapixel IMX882 camera here, which is a decent sensor. It's not bad for this price range. 8 megapixel, oh yeah, they're still using that ultra wide parts bin, and the 50 megapixel camera, that is also 20 megapixels, so they're still using those older kind of parts. Supports 4K 60 video at least. Now, the optical fingerprint reader, quite low the location. I would like it to be a little higher. The screen is very good, being flat, and it is a AMOLED screen here. Now, the brightness peaks at 3200 nits. That's the peak mode, but typically high brightness mode is 1700 with this. In direct sunlight, it is okay. It's all right, and the clip I'm showing you now, it actually looks worse than what it really is. You just have to believe me on that it is a bit clearer than what I'm showing here. Hard to capture on camera. So the refresh rate is 120 Hertz. Touch sampling is 3840 Hertz. Sorry, that's the pulse width modulation, but the touch sampling rate is 480. Sorry about that. I'm getting confused here. So it is good, but it has a instant sampling rate of 2,560. I know, a lot of specs, but people with POCO phones especially want to hear all of that stuff. You're getting fantastic hardware, great specs, certainly for the price. It is a metal frame, antenna lines, and we do have 90 watt charging right here. However, it does support 22.5 reverse charging. So yes, you can plug your devices into this and charge them up if you needed to do so. The battery capacity, 6,500 milliamp hours, I think is decent. And you're looking at a phone, the weight, 215 7 grams. Okay, it's not bad at all for what it is. Metal frame is 8.2 millimeters thick, measuring here. Now, does it support video out? It does not, sadly. I kind of expected this. Loudspeaker takes 2 nano SIMs, and going into the settings and looking for eSIM support, I couldn't see it show up there, hopefully with a firmware update. Microphone at the top here. The proximity sensor, I believe, might be up here if it is a hardware one. It's hard for me to kind of know that. I've been testing it out and it does seem to work fine. So I like it. It's a good build. Go for the black or the white version, again, if you don't like this two-tone color scheme. So we're running HyperOS here with this, and it's based off Android 12. Now, there haven't been any firmware updates yet, but those will probably be coming if needed. I've noticed that there's been no bugs. Performance has been excellent, and I have the top spec version here. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM and 512 gigabytes of storage, but there is another version that will have 256 and 12 gigabytes of RAM. So the performance for me has been just spot on. I've noticed none of that terrible, horrible animation loading in the middle sometimes when you first unlock the phone that I've complained about with some previous HyperOS phones. Now, I think software for Xiaomi's never been their strength. Hardware certainly is there. They make excellent hardware, but so far, I think it's been okay. But there are a few things to point out, like this. The excessive, and I mean excessive amount of bloatware. It's getting a little bit silly now. I lost count at, I think it was 26 apps that I uninstalled that I classify as bloatware. I mean, that's a lot. That has to be the most out of any of the brands that I'm testing recently. Some brands just put on 8 or 9 or 10. Fine. You quickly uninstall them. But this was a bit more work. We do have a Widevine Level 1 cert. I'll soon start to stop showing this because all brands do this now. So we're going to have Netflix in Full HD, Amazon Prime Video, and the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4. Good chip. Now, it's not the highest I've seen out of this chip. I have seen 2 million, a fraction over 2 million points, but it is excellent. It's got a very powerful GPU with it, that Adreno GPU, and it's great for gaming, and I'll get a little bit more onto that. It does, however, get hot, but it doesn't throttle that much. It's acceptable, losing around about 25% performance, just under. It's all right, and you can see where it throttles, that you're going to get consistent performance even when it drops off. So in the first 2 minutes, it really drops down. It started to actually come back a little bit there, so not bad at all, but look at these temps. 49 degrees, and I believe that is from the battery sensor. This is not the chipset. And the frame around the outside, I did notice get quite hot. I'm talking 52 degrees Celsius. It's a bit toasty to the touch if you intend to play games at the absolute max. Be prepared for it to get a bit toasty. And that was without the case. So with the case on, it's going to get quite hot, the front of the screen. So the charge time, 38 minutes with a 90-watt hypercharging for 6,500 milliamp hours. Very good. It's not bad. Anything that's under an hour, I'm happy with. Batteries are getting larger. And this is a great, I think, score there. Battery life, very good too. This is an efficient chip. I think it's a little bit better on the battery, actually, than the Snapdragon 8 Elite because it's not turboing as high. It doesn't have the more powerful CPU cores there. And as a result, you can probably get around 9 to 10 hours if you're taking it easy with the screen refresh rate. So if you don't force it on 120 and you got it on 60, it is achievable. This is a fixed test. It's not realistic. We all know this, but compare all of my reviews of phones to this to get an idea on the battery life because I always set the same brightness. Does have stereo loudspeaker, so one down here, one at the top. Voice calls on it, sound good. There's some noise cancellation being applied, so it makes your voice a little bit clearer than what it would be without it. Haptics it's average. I wouldn't rate the haptics engine and this little motor to be absolutely amazing. And I'll give you a sample here of one of my own shorts. In fact, this is one I just released, which is about this very phone. It's those horrible dual embargo sneak peek. Can't talk about specs now because I can. But what I'll do is I'll play it at 100% volume and you hear how loud these speakers are. They're good. I mean, the hardware, absolutely fine here with Xiaomi.
There is some paperwork, and they do include a TPU case. Then we do have our phone, so this is where I flipped around. Normally there's the specs listed on the front, and included we have our charger, and there is our charging cable, which I can see is Type A to Type C. And we have, yes, a metal frame.
Good volume. There's a little hint of bass. It's not amazing. This isn't a phone that I would say you can go and blast those speakers out like a portable boombox, but 7 out of 10. They're decent. So for gaming, I had a lot of you request that I play this title, Wuthering Waves, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm probably absolutely butchering it, but it runs well. I've got it on the highest possible settings, and some say it's more demanding than even Genshin Impact. It is quite a graphics-intense game, very heavy. So far, what I've seen of it, I only started playing it. It runs it fine, and Genshin Impact I have installed, I have tested that, and I can tell you that the performance is very good. This is a great gaming phone. The only thing is, if you're going to game for very, very long sessions, that be prepared for it to get very hot, very, very hot. As I mentioned, I've measured 50, 52, 51 around the frame. It gets really, really hot, and this is when you play for lengthy periods. If you run 3D Mark, Wildlife Extreme Test, it cooks your breakfast for you almost. I mean, you could fry an egg on it. Well, not quite that hot, but yeah, it gets toasty. Doesn't throttle that much, so that's why it gets so hot. The rear camera here, this does allow 30 frames per second, 4K and 60, no 120. So it's the Sony IMX 882 with optical image stabilization. You see that the electronic image stabilization sometimes lags behind a little bit when I pan around and move. You see that it's still for a second, and it plays a little bit of catch up as I move. So I think a bit of optimization clearly needed with the stability here with the electronic image stabilization, and I don't think it's the problem is the optical. Now I can't go over to the ultra wide because I started recording in 4K. It won't let me because the 8 megapixel sensor does not support 4K video. Only the 50 megapixel one does. And now that I have gone over to that ultra wide, it automatically drops that resolution down. If you had 4K selected, it does select then 1080p. Now there's a bit of wind, so we're hearing some wind noise here. That is to be expected. Wind filtering isn't exactly the best here. And now that I'm shooting 1080p, I can go to the main camera, 2x digital preset. Now still samples. I want to make one thing really clear. These are not flagship cameras. Selfies look okay. I mean, they're good, but portraits need some work, definitely, because there is a bit of overexposure here. The stitching could definitely be better. So some firmware updates, I hope will tweak and improve this. Now the ultra wide, we've seen this sensor so many times before. 15mm, not bad, but it could be better the quality. This is our main camera now, and all right, again, applying here some digital zoom. That's 2x digital zoom. I then take it up to 4. Kind of usable photo, yes, but you can see some definite noise and grain when you start to zoom. This is a shot here of a hibiscus flower. It's in the shade, so it didn't clip or overexpose. Another shot here, zoomed in pretty close, but I got quite close there. And this one of WAPO using some digital zoom. So the photos you can see from these samples, they're okay, but they're not amazing, and I wouldn't class these as flagship grade. This low light looking a bit muddy. However, this low light shot wasn't actually too bad, a lot brighter than what it really was.
So what it boils down to is fantastic hardware, great performance, very good screen. Main camera takes decent photos, 8 megapixel, ultra wide, and a 20 megapixel front facing camera. We've seen these sensors used over and over and over again, and they're just straight from the parts bin. I guess Xiaomi has to use up all the stock they do have. Battery life is very good, 90-watt charging. You got the reverse 22.5-watt charging too as well. If you did need that, we've got it to charge up, say, some earbuds, the case. It's handy to have. It's very fast, the UI very smooth. There is no bloatware I see in system apps, but, I mean advertising, but bloatware a lot. Okay, so no advertising, but a lot of bloatware to start with. And the downside is it does get very hot. If you intend to game for, say, a big gaming session in Genshin Impact, you're going to play for an hour, expect it to get nice and toasty. It is going to get quite hot. If you live in a hot climate, you've got a case on it, and you intend to game a lot, Yeah, that's something you need to think about with this phone here. That's the only real big downside that I've noticed with it, apart from, of course, the ultra-wide's kind of average quality there too as well. But besides that, for the price, which I don't know exactly, don't lay into me. The reviewers never mentioned the price. There's a reason behind that, because we don't know until we post this video. And of course, we can't just make the video on the moment it's announced. We could wait, but we lose the views. It's how it works. But I got a good idea. It's a very good price, and especially the early bird offer price and the base model for what you're getting spec-wise. So thank you so much for watching my review of the POCO F7.